Hello and welcome back to another episode of United We Stand, Divided We podcast. I
And
am
you didn't
Robert
see that.
from the US. What?
Sorry. Nothing. I wasn't vaping. I mean, Robert Warren is from the U.S. and
I'm
I'm
very sorry for
Lionel.
that rude interruption during my introduction. I'm Robert from the US and my co host Lionel from Toronto, Canada. I
I
know he
can be like,
loves I know he
I
loves to
can,
hear it said
I
like
like the
that. So
it's Toronto. I could have a new nickname, Lionel the Rude. I apologize. My timing was off, and I wasn't vaping. No, it doesn't happen. Anyways, but I don't smoke. We'll go with that. So listen, we're gonna have a lot of exciting things to talk about. I mean, like really leading up this week, and of course the Olympics and everything. But I definitely want to make sure people are gonna tune in next time, uh, because there's gonna some big things happening as of tomorrow and onward. But just to be clear, you're going on vacation? When are you leaving?
I'm leaving Wednesday evening. I'll be out of town as of about 6
Right.
p.m. Well, 6:30 my flight leaves for Miami.
Okay.
So
Are we having to postpone next week or are we on? I just want to make sure anyone wants to watch knows if we're doing a show next week or if we're going to make a few shorts to make up for it or short form videos or anything like that.
well, I usually post shorts anyways, but I won't be
Yeah.
getting back until that next Thursday. So
Okay. So we might
uh,
be a day or two
mm,
late.
yeah, we could possibly do it Friday. It just
Maybe.
depends, but definitely
Right.
Thursday's going to be out because I'm not getting back
Yeah.
until that
Well, then
afternoon. So
I might have to. It really depends on how quick I can. But you know what? I'll talk about that after we get to that. So you lead us into what you want to talk about first. I got
well,
a
I
couple of
just
things I got to bring up, but
so Olympics are over, and I don't know how much you watched of the games. I watched
none.
a fair amount. I mean, my wife watched way more than I did, but I
Yeah,
watched some of the events that I really enjoy watching.
right.
I watched the men's basketball
Nice.
decidedly win, and then I watched the women's basketball win by 1 point. It was a nail biter to the end. It was a one possession game, back and forth.
you
And
you
this is the
know.
first time in that I can remember, and I think actually it's the first time in Olympic history that a team has played the host team for gold in the same sport. So the men's
Okay, I'm
basketball and the
sorry.
women's basketball.
I have to ask. Are you suggesting France was in the gold medal game in basketball?
Okay, well, if you would have let me finish. So both men's basketball and the women's basketball both played France for the gold medal game. That's
That's
never
that's
happened before.
that's cool. Yeah, well, it's cool. It's especially cool for France. It's kind of a little embarrassment for Canada. That it is not to take anything away from France. I mean, if they made it to the gold medal, then they must be good. Um,
Yes, they
and
are.
we all know that Canada isn't exactly a powerhouse in basketball. But I want to take it as a little bit of an embarrassment because you'd think that at some point would be like, okay, we have Canadian players that are in the NBA. We have an NBA couple. Well, we used to have a couple, and we have one. Is it only one?
I don't
I
know.
don't
I was going
remember.
to ask you. I
Uh,
don't know.
well, Vancouver, I don't know. I don't remember if they because I don't really follow basketball that much, except a little bit of the Raptors when they were having that phenomenal year and won. Um, but I'm not a massive basketball fan. I do find it can get exciting, and depending on who you're watching and when you're watching, but it's not my number one sport, so I don't go to it. I mean, just like I like CFL because I'm Canadian more than I do NFL, but I can enjoy an NFL game with anybody watching. You know, I mean, any city I'm ever visiting in, if there's an NFL team and I get a chance to get a ticket, I would absolutely go,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Basketball, I can't say the same. I think I probably would go to a Lakers game if I was in Los Angeles for obvious reasons. It's the Lakers. If I was in Boston, I'd probably go to a Celtics game, right? But Uh, Football's a lot easier. I mean, if I went to 10 cities, I'd probably try to see football in all cities that it was available in. But
Yeah.
that's okay. I will say though, congratulations to the U.S. because I understand that they had been chasing China for gold medals for a while, passed them. China passed them again, and then on the last day, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, U.S. got a few extra and ended up passing China for the gold medals, and absolutely dominated in overall medals. Even
Yeah.
even even a quite a noticeable amount more than China.
Yeah,
And the
and
next,
so ironically, the women's basketball game against France was the final game of the Olympics where they won gold,
yeah,
which put
okay,
us it's so it was tied 40-40, but because we're 126 to 91 versus China, obviously we are number 1.
yeah, yeah,
So,
okay,
yeah,
so
but yeah, it was back and forth. China led in goals for a long time until we finally got to
yeah,
some of the events that we're more of a powerhouse in, and
yeah.
we came
That's
back
you know
again in
what?
track and
I
field,
was
and
waiting.
it's yeah,
I was waiting for Canada to suddenly storm out, and I don't mean they wouldn't have competed with even England, let alone US or China, but I was waiting for them to storm out and end up, finishing, like, ninth, 7th, or even 8th overall, for the first time ever in Summer Olympics because so many a number of sports, a lot to do with rowing and sculling that, Canada has traditionally been very good in and medaled sometimes a lot. But they only ended up with a couple of medals in all of that, and there's, like 13 or 14 medals that you can get in rowing, and maybe even more, because there's doubles and, I think
I'm
4 or
not real familiar with
8.
that sport, so I
There's
don't know.
8s and 4 and doubles and singles. There's sculling and rowing, and it's, like, absolutely amazing. And, you were mentioning was it on the podcast, or was it just when we were talking about the breaking thing? Which I kinda it kinda went in one ear and out the other, but I saw it, and it was a Canadian that won the gold, and on the one hand, I'm like, "Yeah!" On the other hand, I'm thinking, "In the Olympics?"
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
were just talking in general, and
yeah.
yeah, it's not slated to be in the 2028 Olympics. So
So, was it just a demonstration sport, or did they make
no,
it a
I
full
mean it was a full medaled sport. So I mean, why
wow.
it's not on the 28 thing, I don't know, but I'm not sad about it, to be
You
honest with
know,
you. I just
honestly, yeah, no, I'm neither am I, but now that they put it in, it would be a jerk move for them not to have it at least 2 Olympics in a row because 'cause they've given a bunch of people hope for something. It's different, but in all honesty, these guys are athletes. Let's
no.
call it what it is. Yeah, are they dancers? Yeah, sure, but they're more athletic than they are dancing, and but
Oh, I'm not saying that
yeah.
they're not athletic, and
Oh, I
but I
know.
just don't think it's an Olympic style type sport.
I honestly, I do agree with you. I'm just saying
Yeah,
because they put it in once, I think it's a dick move not to have it in at least twice, and just tell people this is
yeah.
gonna be the last one, so give it your all.
Maybe it was a
We tried
test.
it,
I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know.
perhaps, but, listen, the results are probably I imagine they didn't get a lot of views, because I mean, breaking is it's still fun to watch and stuff, but it's not what it was in the '80s. It's a niche thing. You get a lot more
Yeah.
people that would I know it's gonna sound crazy, but if they had Olympic darts, more people would watch. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And now people say, "Oh, well, yeah, well, it's like watching billiards." Well, if you don't like billiards, or even if you do, chances are you think it's boring to watch on TV, and for good reason, but if you had 8 ball in the Olympics, I promise you 10 million people would tune into the finals. It's a
Well,
thing.
they have
People
tape.
watch poker by the millions. Dude, you know how boring it is to watch somebody else win in poker? It's horrible, but people millions. You got all quiet.
I was letting you talk. You
You
just
went through a
suddenly stopped
delay?
talking.
Well,
No, you
yeah.
just suddenly stopped talking.
Hey, this is a podcast, people talk over each other all the time, so it's all good.
Well, my point was, they have table tennis, they have ping pong in the Olympics. So
Yeah, sure. It's
I mean,
for a while
darts
now, as
would
far as
fit
I know.
right into that, but the
Mhm.
breaking is, to me, just doesn't jive. You know, I'm sure you probably, I don't know, maybe you haven't
Well,
seen
I'm sorry, I have to
the.
stop you there. Apparently breaking does jive, that's kind of the point. Sorry, I'm being a little literal. Yeah, no, I do actually, like I said, I agree with you. I was shocked. I don't really think that it's a thing for the Olympics. And again, that is nothing against the absolutely phenomenal dancers slash athletes that are doing it. And I'm happy for all of them for getting that recognition, having all those people be able to see them. These guys are going to be able to book gigs and get parts and dance more in public, and it's more of a thing. So I'm glad they got that opportunity. But hopefully, you know, uh, whatever kind of, because I know they obviously have some kind of world championship or something, or this never would have happened.
I have
Because they
no
don't
idea.
make an Olympic sport that doesn't have some kind of world champions. Um, but this is going to give it more recognition, so they're going to have that one way or the other. But
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no
so
idea.
on that note, again, congratulations to the entire U.S. Olympic team and all of the U.S. fans for not surprisingly finishing number one overall in overall medals as well as the most golds. I'm pretty sure they got the
Well, we're
most
tied in
silvers too.
golds.
Oh,
We tied
tied.
China. Tied with
Oh,
China
okay. So
40.
you won because you
Yeah.
had the most medals, period. Right.
Right.
Okay. Same thing. That still makes them number one. But I also want to say congratulations to Team Canada for pulling off the most successful Summer Olympic Games in Canadian history at 27 medals, which beats them by their previous high by 3. That doesn't sound like a lot. I know people are thinking, but remember, we only have uh, close to 40,000. It's where 40,000 people live in my neighborhood. Like 40 million people in the country. And the last time that they got, I think around 18, they've got 24 a couple of Olympics ago, whatever. But normally they were getting in the 13, 12, 14 range, right, for medals. A lot of them rowing, like I said. Um, but that was when they did it, Canada was barely scratching around 30 million people at the time, too. So we have way less people than most countries that are winning. Well, basically, Canada has way less people than all countries that finish ahead of them in the Olympics. If you look at all the countries that finish ahead, that's an incredible fact. And most of the countries that finish below Canada either have less people in their country than Canada, or they're borderline third world countries or war torn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was really hoping they'd break top 10, and they came close. But
They
yeah,
did. I
they
thought they were
did.
going
I
to.
thought they did a
Yeah,
very respectable
yeah.
Olympics for sure. I
They
mean,
slowed down the
I,
last few days. They didn't get any new medals.
but isn't Canada far more competitive in Winter Olympics? Because obviously you have a lot more
Uh,
snow
yes,
capabilities.
Canada always,
For
yeah, Canada, at least for the last several Olympics, or at least 5 or 6 or whatever it's been, has finished, generally speaking, in the top 5-ish, because there's been a couple where it hasn't been quite as successful. But of course, Calgary, despite the fact that that was the second straight hosted Olympics that they did not win a gold medal, it was embarrassing. Then they did the Vancouver thing, and I think it was day 3, and they're going, "Oh no, here we go again." And Bilodeau won that freestyle skiing. I think it was not freestyle, some kind of jumping thing. It's similar to freestyle. I don't think it's actually freestyle though. But he won the gold medal, first gold medal on Canadian soil for a Canadian in history.
yeah,
They ended up winning what was it, 17, I think, something like that, gold medals. Um, to put that in perspective, they had never done more than I think 14 before, or 15 or something like that. And it was actually the record until the last Winter Olympics, I want to say. Last Winter Olympics, I think it was broken. But until then, no team, including the US, had ever won more. Not Switzerland, not Sweden, not Finland, not Russia. And it's like, wow, Canada at home won more gold medals than any other team in history of Winter Olympics at the time.
yeah.
So they're still top 2 or top 3.
Well, I'm pretty sure this coming Winter Olympics, you guys will be at the top of the list because hockey's back in. They're allowing NHLers
I thought
to.
oh no, it wasn't in the last time they kicked it back out, right? Because
Yeah,
the NHLPA and NHL both had an issue with it,
yeah,
I think, and then it talked them into going back again.
yeah. So they're
Um,
allowed now to play, and of course, like you can look at the Predators roster, and they're probably three-fourths of them are Canadian. So, you know,
yeah,
every roster out there's probably got at least half of them are Canadian.
but you
So
know what?
yeah.
There are a lot of really good Finns and
Oh
Swedes
sure.
and Americans. If you were to pick the three best teams in the world right this minute with what we know of what happened last year in the NHL, you would have America, Canada, Finland. Don't know which order that would come in. I really don't know. I would honestly probably say America would have a really good shot at playing the Finns for the gold medal. Canada would have to push it to make it to the gold medal game if it happened right this minute. And that's not, I'm not insulting Canada. I'm actually saying that Americans have gotten so good at the game that there's no. I remember when it used to be a guarantee. Oh, Canada's playing America. It's going to be a tough game, but Canada's going to win. We do not know that anymore. Not at all. And
Yeah.
it's
Well,
more fun. It's more fun to watch. So,
that's the same way basketball has turned out to be in the Summer Olympics, which actually is good. I like it because it has spawned a lot more competition because you have a lot of,
yeah.
European and, other countries playing
Right.
for NBA teams that are now playing for their home country in the Olympics. And so, like, there was a couple of teams that the U.S. men's almost blew it. Like,
Huh.
I can't, was it Berlin? Belgium? I don't know. There's one of the teams here, just like it was like the silver medal game, or excuse me, the bronze medal game. They almost lost that game, and they almost
Wow.
would have got the bronze, and they pulled it out. They were like 17 points down and came back and won by like 5 points or something. So now the gold medal game against France, France played well, but it was never like in jeopardy like the women's was, and they ended up
Right.
finishing
Right.
in double digits. So, but it's not a runaway like the Dream Team was. Um,
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they were actually saying that this year's team is probably better than the Dream Team, but because the rest of the world is so much better at basketball, it
Yeah.
makes it look like they're not as good because they didn't just run away with it. But who wants a runaway? I don't want a runaway. I want a good
I
competition.
yeah.
Like
I have. Canada had way back in the '80s put one team on the court that was so good that we actually weren't disappointed when they had to settle for a bronze. If I'm not mistaken, I think they won the bronze. They didn't make it into the gold medal game, but it wasn't for lack of trying. This was such a good team, and if I remember correctly, I believe at least one of those players ended up in the NBA. This was before NBA players were playing. Um, in because if I remember correctly, NBA got into the Olympics before NHL. If I remember
that, I
correctly,
don't know. I don't know, but
I
yeah,
think it
it's
was yeah.
for a long time they weren't allowed to play. You're right, but
What am I?
I'm glad to see
I
the
want to look that up.
competition, and it was a lot of fun watching the basketball. I really really enjoyed it. I mean, when you have a team that's got LeBron James, Les Curry,
Yeah.
Durant, I mean, you have these big time ballers literally on the court at the same time.
Right.
It's fun to watch because like Les Curry, that man in the last two games scored 60 points by himself.
Dang. Wait a minute. A game or two games combined?
Over the two games combined, but
Oh,
nonetheless,
okay. But
30,
still
30
good.
points a game is yeah.
Yeah.
He drops threes like I drop, what, in the toilet. I mean, it's just like clunk, 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 clunk. So, he was amazing to watch, really.
Well,
It's
yeah.
yeah. I have a new appreciation and respect for LeBron James because he's a very selfless player on the court.
Yeah. I'm gonna do my thing here and ask. I was gonna say Chat GPT, but no, it's the Google one, Gemini, about the Canadian basketball team in the Olympics. Just because I want to know who that main player was. The Canadians ever win a basket? No, shoot, I didn't ask that right. Have Team Canada ever won an Olympic medal in basketball? I hope I remember correctly. Yes, Team Canada. Oh God, I could put my glasses back on. My old man face. Here we go. Yes, Team Canada has won Olympic medals in basketball. I'm gonna turn that off. Men's team silver. Oh, silver. Oh no, sorry, that's 1936. Wait a minute. Oh, I guess they didn't win in the 80s. Wow. Okay. I thought they did. I'm so confused. Uh, did the men's team not win a medal in the 1980s? Bronze medal, or at least lose in the bronze medal game? They didn't let me finish. It's just typical Gemini. No, the Canadian men's basketball team did not win a medal in the 1980s at the Olympics. Their best finish during a decade was fourth place, so they lost the bronze medal game. Okay, fair enough. But that's, again, for Canada, that was incredible at the time because they would never even have made the medal round in most years. I think that might be the first time they even made the medal round. I have to check that out too. Other than 1936, obviously, but would expect it was 1936. I mean, even Americans weren't that good at basketball yet.
So Canada doesn't have any kind of basketball league like NBA. That's like you have the CFL.
No. The only pro leagues, like I mean, slightly more noticeable pro leagues that we ever had were actually based out of America, anyways. Winnipeg had a team, the Winnipeg Thunder, they were called. They would always hit the court to Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Yeah. I was going to broadcasting school at the time, and I want to say major, but it's not like it was university. But what I was focusing on was sports broadcasting. And of course, because it was an accredited school, we were able to obtain press passes, proper full press passes. So I would get press passes to certain games. I decided I wanted to go to a basketball one. Because again, I got to learn how to do everything, and I didn't know much about basketball. So I sat there rather, right at courtside. So glorious. Because a lot of these guys were either too short for the NBA, had played in the NBA, were trying to get to the NBA, and they tried harder because this league, which I can't remember the name of, had a height restriction of 6'4" or 6'5" or something. So the vast majority of players were between 5'8" and 6'2". That's right. When they dunked, they flew. I mean, it was amazing to see these guys. Literally, it was like watching a whole bunch of Air Jordan. It was insane. And that one game I went to, and it was radio broadcasting specifically that I was working on. So I wrote out everything, and then I transcribed it into how I wanted it to sound as a report on the radio. And we did little radio things every day for practice, right? And to be graded on. So we went in and I read the whole thing out as if I were doing the radio show. And I did it in the radio voice. The Winnipeg Thunder, 132, 127. You're listening to whatever the hell. And it turned out really good. And this was my radio voice. I got to tell you, when I talk in my radio voice, I mean serious business. But anyways, okay, enough of that. We've blathered on a lot about the Olympics. Unless there's something specifically more you need to say about the Olympics, I do really want to do a massively well, not really a segue because I'm cutting it off. But
I was going to make a mention about you talking about height, and I was just letting you finish.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Did you know that Brittany Griner, who's on the women's basketball team, is 6'9"?
Huh?
6'9". Yeah, she's a monster.
Wow.
She's awesome. Anyways, so that's I was just, you were talking about height and
at 6'9", she don't need to be awesome. And if she wasn't, I wouldn't tell her. Anyways, All right. Well,
Yeah.
tomorrow is the 13th of August, 2024. That might not mean that much to some people unless it's your birthday. I know someone whose birthday is tomorrow. However, that isn't what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know, Google has moved, and we brought this up before, their reveal event for their new product into, well, a little past the midway point of the year, and it's this month. I'm not sure exactly when the phones will be available. I assume it's anywhere from the first day to about a week later or something along that line. However, the great part about it is while you're gone, I'm hoping to get my hands on the phone. If not, it has to be a week and a half later or something like that. Then we'll work on it then. But if it happens, I will unbox it on this channel.
Nice. And see,
Anyway.
now all of you know why he's acting like a small child and he's all
Oh,
giddy
come
through this
on.
entire thing is because tomorrow is his pixel reveal day from Google.
And, and it just so happens that I enjoy my Google phones. And there are a couple of HTCs in here because I go back. I go way back. There's my original Pixel, right? So that's the Pixel 1 XL. They didn't call it 1, of course. But I have almost all of them. Unfortunately, the 7 or 6, pardon me, was sold. Um, but hey, it was a sad day getting rid of it, but nonetheless, yeah, I'm going to be a little excited, and I of course will be getting the 9 Pro XL. I'm glad they actually brought the XL moniker back because it's part of what Google was doing. It differentiates them, and that way they can have 2 Pro models, which everyone else is doing. Samsung does it, Apple does it, Huawei does it. Even who cares about Huawei? But I'm not sure about Oppo. I don't think they do. I think they just have their main phone and some budget one somewhere, but I
Yeah,
could
I
be
don't
wrong.
really know anything about Oppo. I mean, I know
Yeah, I
what
don't
they
follow
are,
them
but
much.
I
Yeah.
don't know all the details. Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
follow.
used to, but I don't follow that as much. There's lots of people out there you can check out Oppo stuff with. But if you want to know more about some Samsung stuff, uh oh yeah, speaking of which, did you do a review on your new watch at all or a first impression or anything like that on your
Oh
channel?
yeah,
Or the channel?
it's on my tech channel. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, plug it. Here, plug
Yeah,
it.
I'll put a link in the description, and it's
Absolutely.
Gadget
Yeah.
Guys Gadgets with
Yeah,
a Z
you gotta
with a
check that
Z.
out, because he does use that, and, when he gets new stuff, he'll talk about some of that stuff. By the way, I do wanna mention, again, we don't have this is not a sponsor, but it's just because I believe in when I believe in something, I do wanna say something about it, but hopefully one day we can actually get a sponsorship for these guys here. A Steel Series Nova Pro wireless headset, we both use them, and they're fantastic. I hope you're watching this Steel Series. Because we love your headsets, and you can see I'm pointing at it like they can see me
And I
pointing at it.
love your microphone.
Yeah, he loves your microphone. I do too because it sounds great. I am using a Rode microphone. I hope you're watching Rode. But but nonetheless, in both cases, they're fantastic. SteelSeries does
Yeah.
make great stuff. So if anybody out there is looking at this and thinking, "Well, how can I get into this stuff? And what can I do? And what should I use?"
Which
I seriously recommend.
Steel Series,
Yeah, yeah.
Steel Series, my LD, my RGB mat, Steel Series.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I have to go this way though. Logitech. Oh, sorry, Logitech for a wireless. I don't need it because I got the laptop here, but I have this in case I want to type off of it and I don't have to reach over or whatever. And I do have a Logitech mouse. It's not hooked up right now. I have some generic
Yeah,
garbage
they make good
running.
stuff. I have a lot of
They
Logitech
do.
stuff too.
I don't remember we're mentioning everything, but in all seriousness, these are expensive, but you can get cheaper stuff. But if you want to sound good and you want to know what you sound like, it is important that you get good stuff. So, and I talk about that because I buy new phones every year. This is still my last year phone. This is my Pixel 7 Pro. My Pixel 8 Pro is the one you're looking at right now. And hopefully in a week or two, that will be my secondary phone, and my Pixel 9 Pro XL will be my number one phone. And honestly, if it doesn't get talked about this, next week, the week after, you will definitely get beyond the first impression, or at least the first impression, depending on how long it takes to get it.
Yeah.
I probably put out a quick one on my own, but we'll talk about a lot of that stuff on the podcast in a couple of weeks. Um,
But
that's
you
about all I
failed
had to say about it. Sorry.
you failed to tell our
Yeah.
viewers why the Steel Series is so awesome. Keep in mind,
You're right.
people, this device here has a DAC that can actually be used on two separate devices, and it is lossless wireless audio because the DAC is what actually communicates via 2.4 with the
Right.
headset. So you have lossless audio, fantastic surround sound. You
Yes.
have a battery that lasts hours and hours and is hot swappable. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say enough amazing
Just in
things.
case anybody is
And this is
unsure.
obviously wired too, so we use
Yeah.
it on our podcast.
Yeah.
Multifunctional.
Just in case anyone's wondering about when you mention hot swappable, because most people do know, but just in case anybody is unaware, that just means you can actually swap out the batteries without having to turn off and turn on. You literally pop the battery, which charges inside the DAC. It's a
Yeah,
second battery. It comes with two. You don't have to buy another one. You
yeah,
take it out and then you remove the one from the headset, pop it in within 8 seconds, and it takes only a few seconds to just reinitiate. It doesn't have to restart. All the settings you had on the DAC stay the same, and the audio
yeah,
quality is fantastic.
yeah. It's
Also,
amazing.
yeah, you can do Bluetooth
Hmm.
and wireless at the same time, so you can be gaming and listening to your own music,
Yeah,
which is
I didn't
pretty
mention that.
cool.
That's awesome because we actually in the very beginning of our gaming days before PlayStation, we would actually use
Yeah.
the Bluetooth audio from our phones. You remember
Yes,
that
we did. Yeah, I
while we
do
were
remember
playing.
that.
So
GeForce Now,
it's
actually, I believe we did that
yeah,
with GeForce Now.
yeah.
And it worked. It worked really well. It was amazing.
It's such a
Yeah.
multifunctional headset that sounds phenomenal. You're sacrificing nothing, and it's the leader in its class. I'll actually link it to the product to our Amazon. I am an Amazon associate, so if you do purchase, thank you very much. It'll help support the
There
channel.
you go. So I
But
was
they
wrong. There
are
is a way to
amazing
get something out of
headsets.
that.
They are
Yeah,
amazing
it
headsets.
is absolutely good, and 100%. Again, it this is, but keep in mind that there are less expensive Steel Series headphones in
Yes.
case you do want to at least get something that is getting approaching to this, and you're like, I need another 6 months a year before I can get the more expensive one. I still recommend it. Anything Steel Series, you're gonna get
Yeah.
a great product. They're extremely well built. Uh,
They actually have an
yeah.
Amazon store. So, in addition to specifically listing this headset, I will link to the store as well. So, you can go check out all their headsets because
Oh,
he's right. They have a whole
yeah.
slew of different headsets that are available. And I
Yeah.
think originally you and I both used one of their lower end
Yeah, I 3, I
units.
wanna say it was the
It was a
3
yeah,
series.
three
It was a
series, yeah.
3,
And
something like that?
we just wanted the more dynamic
Yeah.
sound and the other capabilities this had, and it was like an amazing upgrade for sure, 100%.
Oh, absolutely. I should mention too, um, they are, active noise cancellation, which
Yes,
with the touch of a button, you can go from noise cancellation on or off. Also, I can't remember what you call it. What is it, like a pass-through mode or something like that?
yes.
Where it doesn't do noise cancellation, but it also mics in surrounding
It's
noise
kind
so
of the
you can
opposite of
hear
noise.
people. Yeah, but it does that so that if you need to hear the doorbell or if you need
Hmm.
to hear somebody, you're taking care of your sick grandmother, you can still hear if she's coughing or something.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is, you know. You can hear your wife saying, "Get off the computer and get over here now and take out the garbage." Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You can hear, and then you could turn that right back on when you don't want to hear. Get over here now. But bottom line is it
Yeah.
is it really fantastic, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, one last thing for you gamers out there that want to use a PS5 and you want to use a computer for your streaming computer using a capture card. This has a line in, line out that you can use with the capture card to capture all your audio here. that streams, and so you don't have to use a separate mic, a separate headphone. It's all in one. It may not sound like 100% clear like this mic does, but it does more than ample job of
Yeah.
the audio.
If you
It's
listen,
fantastic.
if you bring that up, it might as well actually mention it's like we're doing a commercial for them or something. You have to. There's one other thing. There are actually two versions of this. One that works with computer and PS5 or anything else,
Mhm.
period, that can work with the USB-C input or output, or sorry,
And
input
then
into the
there's
DAC.
Xbox.
And then there's the Xbox version, which if you are an Xbox user, you are well aware that they have a proprietary version of USB audio. So if you
Yes.
want to hook up headphones via USB at all, you absolutely have to buy the Xbox version. Same price. And you can still use it with a computer, but you will not be able to use it with a PS. Oh, no, you can use it with a PS5. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
No, because it's proprietary only works. So
Yep.
basically, what it has is the DAC has two USB inputs. One will work with computer or anything else, including a PlayStation. The other one will only work with Xbox. So if you didn't want to use it with a computer, you just had an Xbox and a PS5, and you only wanted it for those, you could hook one to the one to one and one to the other. But most people want a computer and an Xbox, or a computer and a PS5. And if you have three, you might do some switcheroos, but just be careful with that. Make sure when you go into a store or look online or whatever, you make sure that it either says Xbox version or doesn't say Xbox version. It will say
Yeah.
PC, PS5, and blah, 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 blah. Or it'll
Yeah.
say PC, Xbox, and nothing else.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So be mindful of what you're clicking on. But yeah. So for sure.
but yeah, so
At any
just
rate, so
because
that's our Steel Series plug for the episode.
yeah, they will. Hope you're watching Steel Series and
They are just
Road.
amazing product though. So I mean, it's not. I mean, even if I did not have an Amazon associate account, I would still link to the product. I'd still recommend the product because it's hands down the best headset I've ever had ever.
Now I know
Period.
you use Samsung now, but I want to know which one of these bad boys was your favorite.
My favorite was the 4XL.
Oh, the one I'm holding. Oh, wait, there.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
In other words, I already knew that. Oh, it's upside
It
down. No
just
wonder you
worked
didn't see
so
it. Sorry,
well.
it's there we go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with you. And to this day, I kind of miss some of the things that it did and the way it worked. But once it got into the 6, the sensor was a little bit bigger. The 7 was better, and the 8 is just phenomenal in comparison, camera-wise. But
Yeah.
honestly, I never had an issue with the 4 in any way, shape, or form. And one of the things I was coming from a 5, and the 5 was just a budget phone that, it was a gap year for Google. So it was
Yeah.
kinda like a massive step down and then a big, huge step back up, but it was
Yeah.
still a smaller sensor.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same size. They made a huge leap in sensor size in the 6. Sorry,
Yeah.
coming
They
from
really
the
should
5.
have just went four to
Sorry, I meant
six and
coming from the
just
3, which was, hard to explain. The 3 was good, but it just didn't have the same abilities that the 4 did.
yeah. They really should have just went from 4 to 6 though. They should have just skipped 5 because 5 was just not a good phone in my opinion. I had one too, and
Well,
I
they
just
wanted to, but there was the stuff that they wanted to do with it wasn't ready. So they kind of made a decision with about 6 months to go and said, "Well, we don't have enough time to test it, so put out a small phone."
yeah,
Uh,
bad
and
move,
basically,
Google.
what would have originally been the 3A ended up being the 4, or I mean the 5.
Yeah.
Um, was there actually a 3A though, or did that start with 4A? I don't remember.
That I don't know. I've never bought
I
an A
don't
series,
remember. Yeah, I
so I don't
wouldn't.
know.
I wouldn't. I mean, I understand why some people do budget and they don't need anything more.
My
But
son Blake loves it. He won't buy anything but an A series. He's like, I
but,
don't need anything else.
he mentioned that, but he doesn't seem like he cares about beyond that. Just have the
No.
phone. If you like taking a picture, take a picture. If you don't, and that's it.
Yeah.
Make a phone call, hang it up. Bob's your uncle.
Pretty
Uh,
much.
I I love my technology. I do everything with it. I shoot video edit, post stuff. Uh, I get into all kinds of stuff with the phone that, I mean, it's a small computer, and
Oh
it
yeah,
does some of the things quicker on my phone than I can do on a computer.
yeah, 100%, 100%. And I'll be using my Samsung device um, in my
Right.
travel vlogging coming up for these next 2 or 3 trips.
Which you have promised we were going to see at least a couple of pictures.
I'll send some pictures. So when you do your unboxing your phone, you can show off some pictures and
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I mean, when you come back, you put some pictures up on the
But you
screen
can
on
but you can
our
show
blog,
some off if
or
you
I
do
mean,
your
our
unboxing too, though. So yeah.
well, yeah, but that's not yours. Why would I show off your pictures in my unboxing of my new phone? That makes no sense. It's the Samsung phone. I can do
Well,
that as a comparison to show how much better my phone is, but that's not really where I was going with this.
okay. All right.
But nonetheless, just so as you know, though, and make sure everybody understands this, as of September, I will be switching to iPhone.
And that's when the podcast will end. So I'm sorry, everyone. That's our last episode.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Yes.
I'm not doing that. I
No.
like my Pixels, and if I do switch, honestly, I would only switch to Samsung at this point. If I did switch, at this point, it's not going to happen yet, though. So, I'm giving the 9 definitely a chance, and honestly, if it's not that great a phone, I'll have to suck it up because there's no way I'm going to make a switch during the year of the Pixel 10. Which, by the way, them putting this one out early scares me that they might stretch longer and wait till October next year to iron out anything they need to do with the Pixel 10. That scares me. I honestly, though, I will tell you, I believe that they're already technically finished and they're giving it a long time to do testing. Because there's no way they could do it unless it was already done. Because it's new. They've never had it before. This is 100% designed by Google, not a Samsung chip. This is what they said. This is what they're doing. We designed it, and now they send the plans off to TSMC to manufacture it, which is the same thing Apple does, which is the same thing Samsung does for some of their for their Exynos chips. They don't make their own chips all the time. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But I think that they probably have already done that. The design for the phone is probably mostly done. I mean, they're most likely using a prototype at this point that's going to change, but it's likely they're testing it severely already. Because again, this is the first one. Like, do you honestly, when Apple came out with the Macintosh, everybody thinks, oh, Steve Jobs went back, and 6 months later there was a Mac. Well, there wasn't. It was like a year and a half before they even got anywhere near there, and they were talking to him for months before he rejoined the team. And they used Next computer technology entirely to make it. Next computer literally became Mac OS.
Yeah.
And anybody doesn't know that, look it up. I swear to you, it's the absolute 100% true. And
Yeah.
Steve Jobs even knows. I mean, he admitted. I mean, like not admitted. I mean, it was his baby. Technically he didn't write or create it because he wasn't a programmer.
Right.
He paid somebody else to do the work.
He was a creative.
He was extremely creative. He knew what he wanted, and he wanted that done. And quite frankly, had the technology been available 10 years earlier to do that, that's exactly what he would have had Bill Gates do. And Bill Gates would have been able to write that. But unfortunately, what was available was that. And the only reason why Gates didn't use a better system was because he didn't want to completely copy Mac, right? He
Yeah.
should have went based on what's the word I'm looking for? Not Linux. What Linux is based on?
Unix.
Unix. Thank you. He seriously, Jobs should have wrote that stuff in Unix. He really should have. He knew how, and he should have done it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I think he did it because he wanted a wider, a platform that had a lot more support, or
But it didn't have any support.
Maybe support's not the right word. It's
Windows.
I think
He wrote Windows from scratch.
Yes,
There
but
was
he
no
wrote
support.
it in a way to where it was going to be easier for people to develop for. and
Oh, okay.
that's
Okay,
been true.
and
That's been true.
I do understand what you're saying. Although I kind of I get it, but I think people would have done it anyways. But
Probably.
I think the biggest problem was that it had to run on DOS up until XP? No, 2000, right? No,
No.
Windows NT. Sorry, Windows NT. Is that correct? Windows NT. This 2000 was Windows NT technically, just a different
Well,
name.
3.1 I think didn't run full DOS interface. Obviously, they all
No, it
have
didn't,
some
but it
DOS
had to run on
back
top
end,
of
but
DOS. Everything,
right,
all Windows ran on top of DOS, and to
right,
even Millennium ran on top of DOS. I
right.
mean, you could easily find that out by simply going into the. Oh God, that's been so long, but I do remember being able to do this, and you could go in and you could write the boot file so that it would stop
Right.
one character short of starting Windows, and you would see the DOS screen when it tried to start up. If you put that character in properly, it starts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it won't. But that was one great thing about DOS, though. If Windows had an issue starting up, you could tell it how to. So,
Yeah.
but it was just too slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garbage slow. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think Microsoft, as we've talked before on other podcasts, I think they missed the boat in a lot of ways. I, you know, I
Still became the highest, largest sales of OS ever.
granted, but
But
when
I
you look
agree
at
with you.
the outlying components, phones and trackers and
Yeah, yeah.
all these other things that are now coming out. Speaking of trackers, and
Oh no,
I
don't
will
make
be
me want to
talking
get it.
about it on a podcast when I get
Yeah.
back because I'm going to be testing the Smart Tag
Oh yes.
2, my original Smart Tag, and I bought a Pebble Bee. And I can already tell you, I'm not going to give
Yeah.
anything away, but the Pebble Bee is not going to cut it. Google's Find My has already irritated me, and I haven't even really used it.
You're
I'll
not the
get it,
first
but I'll
person.
get into that. I'll get into that though
I do.
after
Yeah,
I
I
get
do
back
want to
from my
hear it from
trip.
somebody I know and get more details. But I
Yeah,
know that basically every single reviewer has the same thing to say. What are you
yeah,
doing, Google? You
yeah,
dropped the ball. It's not ready. But that's what they're saying. But of course, it's not ready because there's nothing out there that works with it yet. I hate to tell you this, but when Apple first put out their AirTags, it took months before it would find anything. To this day, I know people who whole family owns nothing but iProducts, and they got trackers on everything. They can't find stuff in their house sometimes. And it's not because stuff is up, it's because it's off. This is the great thing about what Google is doing, and it will get better. It's just gonna probably take much longer than we want it to. Is specifically with Pixel phones, and hopefully others kind of come up with this and support it. But there for a time while they're off, they will still be findable using a very small amount of battery and Bluetooth low energy. A lot of people, well, it's going to be on. That's why they call it Bluetooth low energy. It will literally, the phone, if it won't be able to broadcast anything except that one tiny ping, it'll probably only ping once every minute or two or something like that. They haven't mentioned how it works, but it's
yeah,
Bluetooth low energy. So it'll probably use less than your headphones on standby. So if you think about it, it's going to use like 1% every 24 hours or something. And it's only going to actually be active for about a few hours in that state before it's no. So if you lose your phone, hopefully you're smart enough to look for it, in those few hours that it's lost
yeah.
first,
Well,
in case
I
it's
can tell
off.
you that Samsung and Apple are going to have the tracker market locked
For
up
a long time.
for a long time because even still, like Motorola, I saw an article the other day. It said, "Oh, the new Motorola tracker is now available because it works with Find My and it's got ultra wideband on it." It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I've been waiting on.
so I went to go
But there's
buy one
issues with
because I
that
thought,
too.
okay, maybe I can get it in time to test it too because it's got ultra wideband, and
Right.
it's unavailable. I couldn't find it anywhere, even though they said it was available. It's not available. Same price, $29,
Barely available. It sold out
but
in like 3 hours.
Here's another thing too: is I didn't even think about this. Is the Motorola tag does not have a keyhole, so in order to
What?
put it on anything, you have to buy an accessory to put it
Oh,
in.
is it a small? Oh, because they made it so that it would work with eye tag stuff,
The
whatever.
yeah, it's like
Uh,
the Apple. Yeah,
but they actually have keyholes. Oh no, they don't. They actually have to
no,
put them in stuff too.
yeah,
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's actually a good decision, though, to be honest with you, because they have so many accessories. And if I were using one, for instance, there's a really good chance I'd rather buy one of those eye accessories and get this fruit fly out of my face. And sorry, and like for instance, a keychain. I actually keep like 3 or 4 keys on my keychain because I hate having one key or two keys. It just feels like it's not there. Sometimes I forget to put, the keys are in my pocket and I don't even realize it. So when I have 3 or 4, I can tell. But if I have a keychain, it's different. But I don't like big, bulky keychains in my pocket. A tag wouldn't bother me because I have on occasion put my keys down and went, huh? And, having a
Well,
tracker
I
work.
think Samsung's new design is perfect. I think it's genius actually because you can use an accessory or you don't have to use. You can
Yeah, there's
put
nothing
it
wrong with
over
that.
a dog
Yeah,
collar. I mean, I think they did a good job
and there's
with that
nothing wrong
design.
with that either. I mean, I think having a choice, like making a couple of different designs, is always a good idea for starters. Um, but the thing for me though is I'd like to see Google's Find My Device network work because with Samsung's it doesn't do squat unless you own everything Samsung.
Agreed.
Uh, just like Apple has to be all Apple.
Right.
Google's is giving you this out of it'll work with anything, including Samsung. You just
Right.
need to find My Device network, which works with anything Android with I can't remember what version and up. Uh, and so I
Yeah, but
would,
like I said, there's already a couple things that have already irritated me just in checking it. Like, oh, is this ready to go? And it's like, what?
yeah,
I don't understand. Okay, but I'll get into that, and we'll have that on another episode once I get back and kind of
sure,
compile all
yeah.
that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting all that tested. So, but it's yeah, I think they have some work to do for sure.
Well, yeah, yeah, I would say so. Uh, they're not they're not quite, you know, mainstream. It's going to be a while before that actually happens. Uh, and probably a long while, to be honest with you. Um, but however, anybody owns a Bluetooth phone that has By My Device Network, which all of the S23s, S24s in the next 6 months will by then. The S25 will have it right out of the gate. All new Pixel phones, and anyone who owns a Pixel phone, and just about any phone that goes to Android 15, well, not just about all phones that go to Android 15 will actually have access to, whether people use it or not, depending on the manufacturer, however. Um, so it does make it because the thing about it is you don't have to have 57 trackers around you in order for your tracker to be read. It could be as little as one phone, but most likely if there's 3 or 4 phones within Bluetooth range like this,
Yeah.
it's going to find you within a few meters or something like, or find the product and
Right.
whatever. I don't know. I'm getting noise in my headset all of a sudden.
I
Are
don't
you
hear any
hearing that?
noise.
Well, I'm
No.
glad you're not hearing it because it was pretty loud.
Everything sounds fine over here.
And well, just the way it is around these parts. uh, but
So what else you got? Anything before we wrap up?
yeah, like, subscribe, and buy some merch.
Link in the description. And you
Wait, that's
definitely
not
want
a
to cut.
thumbnail. This is a thumbnail.
Yeah, there you go. Oh
All right.
wait. You gotta do
What,
that
is there more?
again. You
Oh,
gotta do
oh,
that again.
oh! You want to do
There you
this
go.
easier?
There,
Wait a minute.
there you go. I needed it big, without me in there. But No,
Well, wait. Well, maybe you should be in there too, but you can't really take a picture of yourself, and then you would have to look for it. Well, actually, it won't be that hard to find because 55 minutes. Go ahead, do one of those. No, he's not going
no,
to do it.
I'm good.
All right.
I got my face
All
on enough
right.
stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, the subscribe, hit the bell icon, and yeah, you know what? Honestly, check out that shirt that Robert's wearing. It's real nice.
Actually, this right here, I need to make with that because that's our new logo.
That is
So
true. That is
that this
true.
is
So
still
maybe
available,
buy it
but
anyways.
yeah, it's still
Yeah.
available. And it comes, white, black, just all kinds of different colors you can put it on. But I need to actually update it with that logo. I just haven't done that yet. So, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right.
So,
So
all
with
right.
that said, I think we're pretty much ready to start wrapping up. And we're going to first of all, I hope you have a great vacation.
Thank you.
Have a great time. Second of all, don't forget about a picture or two.
Absolutely not. Plenty of videos, plenty of
Uh,
pictures coming, I'm sure.
yeah, and of course, regardless of it, I know you're going to do on your other channel, you're going to be doing your first impressions, reviews, and whatnot about your probably not so much the Pebble Bee, and probably not a lot of good things to say about it. But the tracker situation, you'll have some things to say on your other channel, obviously. But obviously, I'm assuming you're going to bring some of them up on the podcast, the first podcast when we get back as well.
Yep.
Talk
Yep.
about some of the stuff there.
For
And of
sure.
course, I will be talking a lot about the new Pixel 9 series phones. I'll give you all the information that I get, everything that I know about it. Once the reveal is done tomorrow, I'll make sure I have all the notes down and I will bring all that information to you. And hopefully, in the next podcast, I'll have one in.
And that's exactly how he's going to hold it. Ah.
Okay. We're gonna go with that.
Yes.
I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that new phone. I'm gonna tell you right now. But until then, unless there's anything else, I will say
No.
right now that I am Lionel. I am in Toronto, Canada. Toronto, not Toronto, Canada.
And I am Robert, just outside Nashville. And we will see you in a couple weeks.
Have a good one.